looking together into a wondrous Egyptian treasure. So stay with us. Now we're coming to you from inside the Textiles Museum. Actually, originally, this place used at the beginning to be a sabil, which is a place for water, like a water fountain. And then it was turned into a school, and finally it was converted into a museum, which was inaugurated on February 2010. And we're right now in the Ancient Egyptian Gallery. This museum is divided into 3 galleries: an Islamic, a Greco-Roman and Coptic gallery, as well as, of course, an ancient Egyptian gallery. As we can see together behind me, we have a variety of textiles telling us about the history of textiles in Egypt. Since antiquity, textiles were known to the ancient Egyptians. Linen was the most commonly used fabric. It was called minket. Textiles were used in both daily life and afterlife. They served as clothing and household articles. They were also used in boats as sails and ropes. Textiles were valuables used in exchange of goods. They were also important offerings to the gods and goddesses. In funerary practices, textiles served many purposes during mummification, wrapping of the body, and funerary goods, as well as being offered as mortuary offerings. The ancient Egyptians excelled at the textile industry, particularly in the production of linen. The weaving of textiles can be seen on the walls of ancient tombs as well as temples. These scenes show both the spinning and weaving. The biggest textile factories were attached to temples of major gods throughout the country. There were a variety of textiles and weaving styles. Well, right now joining me is lecturer as well as tour guide Mr. Ahmed Hamdi, who will talk to us about the history of textiles in Egypt from the Pharaonic era up to modern times. We will be starting first by the Pharaonic Gallery, and actually the oldest piece of textiles was found in ancient Egypt dating back to 7000 BC or more, and Mr. Ahmed will talk to us about the details. Well, Mr. Ahmed, welcome with us. Well, would you tell us a bit about the beginning of textile and its industry in Egypt, please?
Well, this industry was known since the time of the prehistoric era, since the 4th millennium BC, and we have a lot of examples that was found inside the tombs since the dynastic era. The ancient Egyptians usually planned the flax, which was manufactured to be the linen, and we have a lot of examples in this section made of linen, and different techniques followed in the industry, like different pieces. We have the woven technique, which used for the linen and wool, and they also use the pleat technique for the industry of this textile. Also, this industry used for making the garments of the clergy inside the temples, and we found a lot of these examples in the ruins of the temples and in the modern excavations.
Well, actually, textiles can be grouped to daily life and funerary, but unfortunately, very few daily life were found, but we could tell more about them from the statues and as well as the drawings on the walls. Would you tell us, classify them for us? Like we have, for example, things for daily life like mattresses, then we have the mummy shrouds, we have the gowns. So would you talk to us about the various type of linen products or textiles which was found in ancient Egypt, please?
Well, we found a lot of examples inside the tombs used for different purposes, and main purpose of this industry was to provide garments and clothes for the individuals during that time. And also for the rituals inside the temples, we found a lot of garments for the priests. And at the beginning it was plain garments, red, but after that we found a lot of techniques used for this industry, like the embroidery and dyed examples of this garment.
Well, what type of loom did they use? Like, did they use the vertical, the horizontal? Would you tell us a bit more about that?
Use a horizontal, basically, but the other techniques was known later in different eras, especially at the time of the late period.
I heard that they even had gloves. Like, I heard that in the tomb of Tutankhamun they found gloves and socks with him. Is that true?
Yes, they found some of these models inside the tomb of Tutankhamun. And basically it was known before the time of Tutankhamun, or before the time of the New Kingdom, but later on a lot of these examples was found in the tomb of the individuals, which dated to the year 950 years BC.
Well, right now behind us, actually, this is an interesting showcase because there are a variety of linen and textile fabrics in it. Like there is, for example, a bedspread, I think, and other items. So would you tell us just a glimpse about these items?
Well, as they do believe in the hereafter, we found a lot of these articles inside the tombs of their private individuals. And these beds and couches, which was found inside the tombs, usually coated or covered with sheets of linen, which made of different techniques. Like this one, which made of bleached linen, and we have the couch, and this is one of the examples that was placed here in this museum, and we have a lot of these examples in the other different museums, like the Egyptian Museum.
Well, would mummy shrouds be different? Like some would be plain, others embroidered, some with magical, like, or are they all alike?
No, it's not all the same, but we have different examples. Since early times, we have a plain examples that was found inside the graves, but later on we have different techniques that was followed, like the embroidery or the dyed examples, and it was extracted from different oxides. I mean, I'm talking about the colors. It was extracted from different oxides, like the green, yellow, black, and also the white, which was famously known during that time.
Linen was made from the stem of flax. Flax took about 100 days to grow, from seed to mature. In ancient times, its harvest preceded that of the wheat. The plants were gathered in whole when they were in blooms, as better fibers could be produced from young plants. The plants were uprooted, turned upside down, and the earth adhering to the roots shaken off them. Sheaves were formed with the blue flowers showing on either side of the sheaf. Then the seeds were cleared away with a ripple. The next step is unknown, but stalks were cooked, reared in water, or left to rot. They were then gathered, beaten to extract the fibers, and finally dressed with a hackle, removing the last remnants of pith and other unwanted matter. The resulting yellowish or grayish fibers were in the form of 60 to 80 centimeters flat long stripes, each consisting of 20 to 40 single fibers. These stripes were then divided into strands of the required thickness. Until the late period, many pairs of stripes were spliced together end to end and twisted into wove, which was then spun into thread. What type of magical spells would be written on the shrouds if it has any type of decorations, for example?
We have two different types of hieroglyph and script that was either left over the walls or over the shrouds of the deceased. It's vertical lines. Usually the prayers and hymns left in vertical lines, while the stories and legends left on the horizontal lines. The vertical lines covered the whole shrouds of the deceased, and it was used till the time of the Greco-Roman era. And before the Greek and Roman came to Egypt, they usually cremate the bodies of the deceased, but after that, they do learn about the mummification from the ancient Egyptians, and they started using the shrouds which made of linen in wrapping the different parts of the deceased, and also they usually cover it with vertical lines of prayers and hymns to protect the deceased in his journey in the hereafter.
When we look at the statues of the kings and the noblemen, of course, we can tell that actually the designs of their daily life garments, which were made out of linen, actually varied. Like we have the starched skirt, the shandid, and so on and so forth. So would you tell us a bit about that?
Well, there is a royal insignia for the rulers of ancient Egypt, and they usually worn a lot of cloths basically made of linen. And they have skirts and kilts around the waist. We have different types of that. We have the famous shandid kilt, which is a ribbed one, and we have the ceremonial one, with a triangular erection, and it was worn by the ruler during different ceremonies and occasions.
Did they have dresses?
Yes, they have different dresses, and they have transparent parts as well, and we can see that over the scenes of the tombs and the temples.
Yes. Well, I've seen in some of the tombs actually that the dresses varied, like even for the ladies, and you'd see that actually the ladies of the dresses of the ladies are under the breasts and with a strap. Is this really true? Did they uncover that part, or that was just a stylized artistic styling?
It's artistic style, but also we have found a lot of these garments in the tombs, and it's a type of dress that used by the princesses and the high class and the elite of the society.
Wow, that's great. So now let's move to another section.